गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। आज हम लोग जिसके बारे में बात करने जा रहे हैं दैट एरिया इज वैल्यू ऑफ कल्चरली रेलेवेंट एजुकेशन फॉर द माइनॉरिटी स्टूडेंट इन द प्राइमरी और एलिमेंट्री स्कूल। इन अ वे वी कैन थिंक अबाउट एक 6 से 14 साल के जो बच्चे रहते हैं उनके अंदर क्या मतलब उनके बारे में आज हम लोग बात करेंगे, जिसको प्राइमरी और एलिमेंट्री को हम लोग एक साथ करके भी देख सकते हैं। वी कैन लुक इट इन अ फ्रेगमेंटेड वे एज वेल। सो अगर हम इस टॉपिक को बहुत ध्यान से देखते हैं तो उसके अंदर अगर एक बार दोबारा देखें तो इसमें वैल्यू ऑफ कल्चरली रेलिवेंट एजुकेशन, ठीक है, किसके लिए? फॉर माइनॉरिटी स्टूडेंट्स इन प्राइमरी एंड एलिमेंट्री स्कूल। एंड देयर आर द 3 मेजर एरिया। कौन से 3 मेजर एरिया है? पहले इसके अंदर कल्चर की बात की गई है, पेडागोजी की बात की गई है, एंड कल्चरली रेलिवेंट एजुकेशन की बात की गई। तो दीज आर द 3 मेजर एरियाज विच वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस, विच वी आर गोइंग टू टच अपॉन टुडे। सबसे पहले हम लोग बात करते हैं कल्चर। कल्चर होता क्या है? आई मीन व्हाट डू वी अंडरस्टैंड बाय द कल्चर? क्योंकि उसके बिना तो हम माइनॉरिटी ग्रुप की बात ही मतलब उसको समझना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा। जैसे कि अगर आप अपने इस टॉपिक में दोबारा जाओ, यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? देयर इज अ कल्चरली रेलिवेंट एजुकेशन फॉर माइनॉरिटी स्टूडेंट। माइनॉरिटी के बारे में हम थोड़ा सा अभी बाद में बात करेंगे कि माइनॉरिटी कौन होता है, ठीक है। पर पहले हमें ये समझने की जरूरत है कल्चर से हमें क्या समझ में आता है। व्हाई द कल्चरली रेलिवेंट एजुकेशन क्या है? सो इफ यू जस्ट लुक एट द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द कल्चर, कल्चर एक्चुअली में होता क्या है? इफ आई आस्क यू, जस्ट फॉरगेट अबाउट द डेफिनेशन, फॉरगेट अबाउट द jargon terms, and forget about like what is written about the culture is what do you mean by the culture? Culture means what exactly? Culture का मतलब है कि कुछ भी, I mean like it's about the shared perceptions of a group. It's about the shared perception of a group values, expectations and norms. कोई भी एक ग्रुप, जैसे कि हम लोग जैसे जहाँ रहते हैं, सपोज एक विलेज में, एक एरिया में, एक क्षेत्र में जहाँ पर हम रहते हैं, तो हमारा जो परसेप्शन है उस ग्रुप का, किसके लिए? ग्रुप्स की जो वैल्यूज हैं, हमारा जो एक्सपेक्टेशंस है, हमारे कुछ नॉर्म्स हैं, यू नो दैट देयर आर द सर्टेन नॉर्म्स व्हिच वी यूज्ड टू फॉलो। हमें लाइक जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं कि किसी पर्टिकुलर फेस्ट में हमें क्या बनाना है, किसी पर्टिकुलर ओकेजन में हमें क्या खाना है। वी एक्सपेक्ट ऑल्सो सम ऑफ द थिंग्स फ्रॉम आवरसेल्फ एंड फ्रॉम अदर्स, ठीक है। देयर आर द सर्टेन एक्सपेक्टेशंस। इट ऑल्सो रिफ्लेक्ट्स द वे पीपल गिव प्रायोरिटी, ठीक है। It reflects the way the people give priority to the goal, how they behave in different situations, and how they cope with their world and with one another. राइट, तो दीज ऑल थिंग्स बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ अ कल्चर कि किस तरीके से जो लोग हैं वो अपने गोल को प्रायोरिटी देते हैं, उन्हें क्या अचीव करना है, वो क्या पाना चाहते हैं, किस तरीके से वो उस अपने वर्ल्ड के साथ कोप अप करते हैं और किस तरीके से वो एक दूसरे के साथ कोप अप करते हैं। People experience their social environment through their culture, and they also experience, you know through their social environment, experience their social environment through their own culture। जिस समाज में वो रह रहे हैं, जिस वातावरण में वो रह रहे हैं, उस वातावरण को वो एक्सपीरियंस अपने कल्चर के थ्रू एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई सेड कि नहीं, सपोज आई जस्ट केम टू, मैं आई विजिट सम स्टेट जहाँ पर शायद गोवर्धन पूजा उस तरीके से नहीं होती। इफ आई जस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट, गिव एन एग्जांपल ऑफ मथुरा, बिकॉज मथुरा में गोवर्धन का एक अलग रेलिवेंस है। And if I'm going in that social environment and I'm experiencing something like what I'm experiencing, अच्छा गोवर्धन में ऐसे भी हो सकता है, अच्छा these are the also things, so I think it also have an impact on my culture. And the moment we talk about the culture, it's all about the किस तरीके से आपका रहना सहना खान पान, and it is a outlook about yourself, something in a broader sense if we talk about. नैरो सेंस में अगर हम बात करते हैं तो कल्चर से हमें समझ में आता है कि जो भी हम लोग हमारा रहना सहना खाना पीना, इट्स ऑल बिकम द पार्ट ऑफ आवर कल्चर। बट इफ वी जस्ट टॉक इन द ब्रॉडर आउटलुक, अगर हम इसको ब्रॉडर फ्रेमवर्क पे, अगर हम उसको बड़े लेवल पे कल्चर की बात करते हैं, तो बड़े लेवल पे इट्स कल्चर इज समथिंग अबाउट when we just talked about that how we visualize the thing, what is our outlook, what are our perception and how the other people are perceiving you. So it became a part of our culture. And culture, the beautiful thing about the culture is like it's not that कि जो चीजें हम अभी आज फॉलो कर रहे हैं वो पहले नहीं होती थी. It might be they are little transformed, they are little transmitted, but it is there. Right, culture transmit from generation to generation with certain kind of modification, with certain kind of some kind of addition and deletions, but it is transforming. आज भी मुझे लगता है कि मेरे परदादी और उनकी दादी एंड दादी जिस तरीके से शायद मुझे लगता है for generations we are celebrating Diwali, it might be possible there are some changes in the way we are celebrating, but we are celebrating again with the great pomp and show. And that celebration and that entry for that celebration is still there, that zeal is still there, and the way we do the worship is still there. Might be some kind of rigorousness, some kind of some kind of traditional expectations get changed, but it is getting transmitting from one generation to another. And now if we just talked about the pedagogy, like because when we talk about the value for the culturally relevant teaching, what is teaching? When we talk about teaching, तो उसके अंदर क्या चीज आ जाती है, कहीं ना कहीं आपका pedagogy उसके अंदर involve हो जाता है. When we talk about pedagogy, तो उसके अंदर teaching and learning process both get involved. And when we just look at it, it is a kind of a philosophical framework for our teaching. When we look at the pedagogy, it is all about a kind of a framework, a kind of a philosophical framework for our teaching, the way we teach. It has become the part of it. And it is the lens in which we plan, carry out, and reflect on our teaching. When we talk about pedagogy, pedagogy is such a word which provides a framework, which provides a kind of an outlook for what for our teaching, what we are teaching, how we are teaching, किसको हम कैसे, how we are teaching, what we are teaching, these things get addressed when we talk about the pedagogy, to whom we are teaching. जब हम इन सब चीजों का concern रखते हैं तो वो कहीं ना कहीं pedagogy का हिस्सा बन जाते हैं. This is for sure. Like if I'm teaching a student of a rural background and if I'm teaching a student of the urban background, the way I taught it can't be same. At the same time, like the amount of the content needed to be get transmitted, it get also varies. At the same time, my approach, like I mean, like if we just talk about like how you teach English, how we teach English, then usually that was a perception that English should be, taught in through the English medium only. But suppose teaching in a rural background school, then do you think that it is feasible, it is practical to deal English directly through the English medium? No, it might not be possible, it might be very difficult, or I can say rather. But even then, in certain situations, in those kind of certain situations, what happen when we try to look into a framework, when we try to develop a kind of a framework for teaching, a framework which suits, which talked about like everything, which talked about the child, which talked about the teacher, which talked about the content, which talked about the process, then it all becomes a part of the pedagogy. And this is it also acts as a lens, and which kind of a lens it is, it also acts as a lens in which we plan, we carry out and reflect on our teaching. जिसमें हम plan कर सकते हैं, हम carry कर सकते हैं, and we got a chance to reflect on our teaching as well. And that's why, when we just use the word pedagogy, it gives an impression that it is, we are talking about the art and science of teaching. It is in a science. Science is where we are using the word science. Science का word लेते हैं, आप लोगों के दिमाग में क्या आता है? The moment I talked about science, it gives an impression that I'm talking about certain kind of systematic steps. It gives an impression that I'm talking about of certain kind of sequences. It gives an impression that I'm talking about certain kind of things which can be proved. And the moment I talk of art, it gives an impression where there is certain kind of emotions. When we talk about art, it gives where there's certain kind of a sensitivity, sensitizations. So that's why, like when we just use the word pedagogy, it means we are talking about the art and science of teaching. So when we just look at like all these aspects through the culture, then it come up with a term that is culturally relevant education. And हमें किसके context में बात करनी है? हमें minority के context में बात करनी है. What is this CRT, culturally relevant education? It's very beautiful and it is defined very beautifully by the Gloria, that it is an approach that empowers the students intellectually, socially, emotionally, and politically by using the cultural reference to impact knowledge, skills, and attitude. जब हम कल्चरली रिलेवेंट और रिस्पॉन्सिव टीचिंग की बात करते हैं कहीं ना कहीं, तो ये एक तरीके का एक ऐसा एक एस्पेक्ट है, एक ऐसा स्फेयर है. इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ एन अप्रोच, एक ऐसी अप्रोच है जो क्या करती है, दैट एम्पावर्स, विच एम्पावर्स द स्टूडेंट्स. ठीक है, जो स्टूडेंट को एम्पावर करती है किस तरीके से? इंटेलेक्चुअली, उनके समझ के साथ, सोशली उनको समाज में रहने के लायक बनाती है, इमोशनली it also empowers that emotionally, and politically, ठीक है, उनको एक well suited environment में establish करने के लायक बनाती है. By what? By using the cultural reference, right, to impact, so that it can impact their knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And with that approach only, we can say it is a culturally responsive teaching. Like there are certain kind of aspects, there are certain kind of principles which also comes under it when we talk about the Gloria. Like firstly, communication of high expectations. High expectations, जब हम communication का मतलब है where there is no kind of a biasness, when we are not judging somebody on the basis of their caste, class, creed, and their racial. But it's my expectation of that idea. When we try to communicate with each other on the basis of an idea, then it becomes a kind of a high expectation. I'm not expecting, there. I want to place one example over here. Like sometimes when we pose a question to a particular student, then there are a lot of things which works inside our mind. There are a lot of things which we need to look into it. Like for example, the when we just pose a mathematical problem to a girl child, then what happened? Then usually we had a feeling ki, oh, she's a girl, she might not be able to answer it. Okay, you just leave it, you don't answer, let me ask this question to somebody else. So when I switch over the question just on the basis of certain parameters, certain aspects, then it means I have a very low expectation, which is a threat when we talk about the culturally responsive or the culturally relevant teaching. And when we started communicating with each other just on the basis, and when we just don't consider somebody as present in my class on the basis because the person is of minority. And now before getting into these 9 principles, let's give me the concept of minority as well. Who is majority? Minority समझने से पहले शायद before getting into the minority, it is very much important for us to know actually to whom we consider as majority. Majority क्या है? Majority किसको consider करते हैं? तो somehow like we consider like majority as those people. We consider majority as those people, those who are in more in numbers, जो ज्यादा संख्या में है, हम उसको क्या कहते हैं? हम उसको majority कहते हैं. ठीक है. एंड व्हाट इज माइनॉरिटी? जो शायद कम संख्या में, हम उसको माइनॉरिटी कहते हैं. ठीक है. तो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग फर्स्ट फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस टू गेट इनटू इट, दैट एक्चुअली टू whom we are considering the majority and whom we are considering the minority, if they are a more representative of the particular caste in a classroom, so they are in the majority domain. And if they're like people, those who are very less in representation in numbers, then they are considered as a minority in terms of a representation. So when we just look into it, the principles which was elicited by the Glory, then we can look at it when the emphasis on a communication of high expectation. It means without getting into the narrow mindset, without getting into those those kind of a mindset ki, okay, like caste, class, ethnicity, then minority and majority, all issues. When we are communicating the ideas, when we are communicating with if I'm like posing something, then I do have a high expectation that of course, irrelevant of all these things, you will be able to answer, you will be able to participate. Then it somehow depicted as one of the very effective principle, and it represent we can consider it as one of the effective principle while talking about CRT. Second, active teaching methods. There are the teaching methods, active and passive. Like when we are talking about the passive teaching methods, it means like we are talking about a kind of a setting where a teacher is just posing one side interaction. The teacher is just putting his own understanding about a particular topic, and of course, being an individual, I don't have a very broader kind of social experiences. With the process of time, of course, the social experiences also get broader, they also get changed. Like for example, I might not be aware what those who are in the minority, how they used to celebrate their festivals, what they used to do, how they used to feel, what are their attitudes and feelings, because I might not belong to the minority group. But if my teaching method is very active, and once if I can say, like, if my teaching methods are the kind of methods where there is a scope for the individual also to participate, then it gives a different kind of an outlook and impression. And if there is a passive teaching method, then of course there is less involvement, there is a less scope for the child sitting at the other end, there is a less scope for the student to share their concerns within their group. There is a less scope for even those students, those who just want to get aware of the different cultures. Until unless there is no active teaching method, it became very difficult for us to accept the other's culture. It became very difficult for us to even know about the other culture. So it is somehow needed that we need to think about the active teaching methods. If there are the active teaching method, it means somehow we are moving more towards the culturally responsive teaching. Teacher as a facilitator, no doubt, the teachers and the parents, they plays a very important role when we talk about the culturally responsive teaching, and that too in terms of minority, right? because it is the somehow the responsibility of a teacher to arrange the things, to make the things in such a way that we are able to reap the reap the fruits out of it. We are able to take the things which is relevant from us. Then next point, we just look at it, the inclusion of culturally and linguistically diverse students. If in a classroom, these are the major roles. When we talk about these 9 principles, it means talking about the major responsibilities to be led by a teacher in the classroom, because here we are talking about the culturally responsive teaching, and in that too in terms of schools. When we look at it, the culturally responsive teaching in terms of a school, then somehow the role of a teacher became very, very, very important. And until or unless we will not look at the inclusion part of of like whom like the culturally and the linguistically diverse students, I mean those who have a varied way of using the linguistic skills, those who are culturally diverse coming from a different background, then definitely we are not be able to come up with a kind of a classroom with a kind of a setting where each individual are sensitive toward each other, where each individual have a kind of a have a kind of a feelings toward each other, understanding, empathy, acceptance, cooperation, compatibility. These are the kind of words which can be seen in the practical phase only when we can come up with a framework, when we can come up with an outlook of a culturally responsive teaching. And it is possible, no doubt it is possible, but for that we need to work on the two major aspects. One thing is on our mindset, and second on our attitude, because mindset is the biggest hurdle. Like the very first moment, if I like perceive someone, if I would like observe somebody, if I just look at somebody and I came to know, okay, oh my god, I mean like I found it tough without having the words of, without communicating with the words. I just found it tough to communicate because, like, because of the gender, because of the race, ethnicity, the region, religion, and anything. I feel like I might not be able to cop up. I might not be able to come up with a consensus. I might not be able to, share the ideas because that person is not at par yet. Because that person, that person is a male. He might not be able to understand the, feministic attitude. Suppose I supposed to come up with an idea, or I supposed to come up with some kind of an suddenly, I mean with some kind of an vision, or some kind of an some kind of a theory, or some kind of an framework for the females, and I came to know, okay, I have to work within a male. Then the very first thing it's come, oh my god, being a male, how would he understand that what are the things necessary for the female, and what should be the attitude for the towards a female, and of a female towards certain aspects. So in such a way, the very first thing we have to work on our mindset. अगर हमने अपने mindset पे काम कर लिया, तो शायद कहीं ना कहीं there is a possibility, being a teacher, that we can think of a culturally responsive teaching, right? So we need to include the culturally and the linguistically diverse students in our classroom. Then culturally sensitivity, it's a very challenging part for any school to make the environment culturally sensitive, because I still remember, like, when I saw somebody in 2000, I mean, it's quite long back, I guess, might be 15 years back. I mean, when I just went to some of the state, I went to the South India, and that was the time actually I saw somebody like eating the chawal for, with the hands, and it makes me feel like this, oh my God, I mean, yes, they don't know how to even, feed within a spoon. They don't know how to use even the spoons, like, but later on, I mean, of course, because I was child at the time, and, the later on, once you grown up, then you become more culturally sensitive. But these things are needed to be taken care within the discussion within the classroom, so that the people, I mean, suppose there is a single student sitting in the classroom, and the child is not using spoons to, just to have the lunch. And if all the students look at the child with such a way, oh my God, I mean, you don't know how to use a spoon. I mean, you are eating by your hand. So it's not that the child don't know how to use a spoon, but it's because the child is eating by the hand, because it is a part of the culture to eat something from the hand. But like, it's the perception of the student just which somehow makes the child feel like, embarrassed, which makes the child feel like, out of the group, and which takes a lot of time on the part of the child to accept, like, actually the problem is not with the child, but the problem is with the perception of those students, those who are not able to accept them, those who are not able to consider the child as a part, as in a group. Next, when we just look at it, then we need to somehow reshape the curriculum. Reshape the curriculum, like अगर हम अपनी textbooks को देखें, अगर हम अपने curriculum को देखें, तो there are like, there are like the majority, influences of the majority. When we just take the examples, like if I can talk about, like there are like some chapter in the book of EVS, they just took some majorly the example of kind of, Hindu dharma, like mandir and all, like, and the examples are also get framed on it. Like, okay, suppose I ask one question, okay, on every Tuesday, what you used to do? Then somebody told me, because those who are from the, those who are from the Hindu religion, they might say, ki, I used to go to the temple to worship the Hanumanji, but what about the rest? Those who are not from the Hindu religion, those who are the Sikh, those who are the, the Christians, the Muslims, and the, Buddhists and the Jews, and, and from any of the religion, those who are considered, we consider them as a minority. So in that way, somehow we need to give certain kind of a space, because when we are talking about the school, then school, there is a need to provide them a kind of a space so that these things can also be get included. So we need to reshape the curriculum. At the same time, when we just look at it, the culturally responsive teaching, then there is a student-controlled classroom discourse. Like sometimes what happened, the teacher controlled the classroom discourses, but in place of a teacher, because the teacher have their own kind of an identity parameters. Like when we talk about as a teacher as an entity, teacher as in a whole, like they have in a different kind of, they have in a certain kind of parameters which makes the teacher what the teacher is, which makes the teacher like how the teacher is presenting and representing in such a way. So the student need to control the classroom discourse. I mean, student need to be get more participative. Student needs to take more lead in it. At the same time, the small group instruction in academically related discourse, if we have in a large classroom, and it might be possible that students are not, I mean, earlier more sensitive towards other culture, towards the way somebody is living, because we might not be able to create a kind of a discussion in the large classroom. In that way, it is needed that we should make that classroom into the, into the some small groups, and we need to initiate those discussions in those small groups, so that they could have been, we could have been generate more effective discussions, more relevant discussions. The more the smaller number of groups, the more scope for interacting. The student can also get the space to interact with each other. The more there is in a large number of the classroom, large number of the groups, there is a less scope, of like, of interaction, of quite too much. I mean, quite a quality interaction, rather I would say. They might interact on some, on some basic topic. They can do some kind of a discussion, but that kind of a quality interaction which is needed to be, where to become a more empathetic towards other culture, which is needed to become the more sensitive towards other culture, which is needed to become, to become a part of somebody's culture, to become more accepted, to, to increase the quality of acceptability within the individual. It is needed to generate the small group instructions and small group discussions, as well as there is a need to develop the kind of an academically related more discourses. So if we just look at it, I mean, like I just talked about like what is CRT as a teaching is. Like when we just talk about CRT, then it is something that comprehensive, transformative, and emancipative. Comprehensive. What is comprehensive? Which can comprehend. I mean, like jo bhi kuch usko up. It should not be very brief. It should be very comprehensive. It should be transformative. Kaisi teaching honi chahiye jo transform kar de. Like suppose I came up with a kind of a mindset. I came from a cultural background. I do have a limited experience, but the teaching should be like that कि उसके अंदर बहुत सारे जो मेरे experiences हैं, बहुत सारे जो लोगों के साथ जिनके साथ मैं बैठी हूँ, उनके जो attitudes हैं, perception है, वो सब attitude और perception मिलके एक transformation, overall transformation in the individual, overall transformation in my teaching skills, overall transformation in the way I look at the life, overall transformation in my perceptions, in my attitude, in my thought process. In that way, we can say actually it is a culturally relevant teaching. So it should be transformative. If I come within a kind of a rigid mindset, and even after completing that particular education, and if in while spending after like quite so much time in the school, and I became the same, like I became the same in the sense that there is no change. And if there is no change, then there is no transformation. And if there is no transformation, so it means what? It means it's not the culturally responsive teaching, right? Emancipatory. A teaching should be because, you know, being an individual, there are a lot of kind of rigidity जो हमें hold करके रखती है. There are a lot of kind of rigidity which hold us, मतलब hold us in such a way that we are actually slave of ourselves. We are living in an age of slavery, and we are slave of ourselves, and nobody gonna be the master of us. We ourselves somehow become our slave in such a way. So we need to come up with kind of an emancipatory like teaching, emancipatory. So when we just talk about the emancipatory teaching, emancipatory, it should be the like emancipation should also be there. Emancipation means that you would be able to make yourself free from all kind of rigidity. We will be able to make ourselves free from all kind of a mindset, all kind of those perception through which we are judging somebody on a narrow mindset. And if we are able to make ourselves free, then actually we are in the more culturally responsive teaching. When we look at it like culturally responsive teaching, there are like certain aspects like builds on what student or how to create that classroom. When we talk about that we have to create a classroom, then how to create it. For that we need to build on what student already know. Nobody is a blank slate. Earlier, I mean, we might be assuming that students, they are blank slate, they don't have any kind of an experience, they don't have any kind of an understanding, they are totally free and blank, but actually it's not that. So whatever we are teaching, whatever we are dealing in the classroom, we need to build on what student already know, because everybody is coming from their own culture. Before starting anything in a class, before initiating a kind of a discussion, before posing my and putting my ideas, my own perception in the student and making the child a follower rather a learner, we need to build on what the students already know, because students are aware of lot many things, they know lot many things. So we need to build our structure that what they already know. Second, helps the students understand there is more than one way of knowing. It's not the only way, is not the preaching, is not the teaching like one-sided. No, it's not that. We need to make our student understand that there is more than one way of knowing. And then another way is like through the environment, through interaction, through the social, through that social understanding, by living with somebody, by leading that life with somebody, the students can know in a much better sense. At the same time, encourages the student to embrace their culture and develop a love for learning. Because sometimes what happened I saw it very frequently, that in some of the cases, the students started feeling themselves like, that they started valuing and judging the culture as like, कि यार ये better है because इसका culture ये है, ये I'm not that good because I'm not considering it that good, क्योंकि मेरा जो culture है I consider it as a low, and they started feeling themselves like and a negative perception get developed in the students. So it should not be happen in that way. So we need to encourage the students to embrace their culture so that they just accept it, because acceptance is very important. Whatever are the practices in our culture, we need to be a little reflective. We need to reflect upon it. No doubt, we need not to accept the thing the way the things come to us. We need to come up with our own, with our own kind of a reflection, with our own kind of logics and argument. But we need not to be shy in accepting something. We need to embrace our culture, and we need to develop a love of learning. Embarrassing our culture doesn't mean that we need to frame a rigid mindset for the other person's culture. No, but rather, while embarrassing our culture, while accepting our culture, while become we need to be more liberal, we need to be more kind of more broader in the attitude towards others as well. And somehow, while becoming more liberal, we becoming more acceptance is there, and we becoming having a kind of a broader mindset, then somehow we are developing a love of learning. Because learning, if there is a rigid mindset, there is a less space. ऐसा होता है ना, रास्ता छोटा है तो उसमें कम ही चीजें हो सकती है, बड़ा रास्ता करो, बड़ा रास्ता कैसे होगा, develop I mean, for that we need to broaden our mindset. Only then we can learn lot many things. Otherwise, अच्छा ये चीज ऐसे आएगी तो मुझे ऐसे ही सीखनी है, इसने सिखाया तो मुझे सीखनी नहीं है. It should not be like that. The moment we change our frame, the moment we change our attitude, the moment we make our vision clear and broader, then somehow we are developing a love of learning as well. At the same time, highlights the student's strength and give them a confidence, right, to confront their weakness, right? It is very important part. We need to highlight like what are the strengths in the students, those who are coming from the minority. especially, and we need to give them a confidence to confront their weakness so that they would be able to confront their weaknesses. Yeah, okay, it's your weakness, so you need to come out of it. You need to make your weakness as well as your strength, right? Like, if you just look at it like culturally responsive teaching, it gives the teachers at the same time, it is an opportunity for the teacher as well. Suppose imagine karo meri class mein same neutral bacha, they don't have a variation, then what's new I can put in my class? I mean, I can just only preach the things the way I want to do. Like, what else? I mean, the beauty of like our Indian classroom is that there is a variety, there is a diversity, and this diversity is beauty. And with that diversity, we can come up with a very diverse example. We just can come up with a very new era, new broader vision. So it is a kind of an opportunity to learn about the student culture. जिसके through हम student culture को समझ सकते हैं. It is an opportunity to teach students about the behavior valued in the school, and it gives an opportunity so that we can teach the students like किस तरीके के behavior की value की जाती है. If there is a varied group, only then. Suppose that the 4 different students in a classroom, they are coming from the 4 different culture, they are coming from the 4 different section of the society. They might have a different way of behaving, right? And with those variation only, I can take this opportunity to make our students to learn, to teach them, you know, and what to teach them so that like what are the behavior, which kind of a behaviors we can value, and it gives you a way of keep the teaching exciting. The very teaching approaches based on their learning. I mean, like कौन सी approaches हैं जो उनके learning पे based होती है as well. So these are the ways to keep their teaching exciting. That how we can excite our teaching. What are the things we can do something, you know, to make it very different, to make it better. And they vary the teaching approaches. And through this only the teaching approaches can also vary based on their learners. So in our multicultural society, like in India, this culturally responsive teaching reflects the democracy at its highest level. It means doing whatever it takes to ensure that every child is achieving and even ever moving towards the realizing their potential. Like in this multicultural society, when we talk about the culturally responsive teaching, it reflects the democracy. There is a freedom, like there is a democracy. Democracy, you all have a power, you all have a say at the highest level. That it means doing whatever it takes to ensure that every child is achieving and ever moving towards realizing their potential. Not even a single child should be left behind. And at least that too not on the basis of any of the thing, any of the social aspects, the intellectual aspects, the physical aspects, you know, the regional, racial, you know, any national, international aspects. No, not at all. Like every child is achieving, every child should achieve up to their, you know, up to their potential, the best up to their level, and they should have a democracy. If we are able to incorporate these two beautiful elements in our classroom, in our school environment, that is the democracy and that is to make the child to achieve and to realize their potential at their highest level, it means somehow we are moving towards the more culturally responsive teaching. And to be a teacher of CRT, you need to be willing to re-examine your teaching pedagogy. If we want to be the culturally responsive teacher, then we need to re-examine and make it relevant to our student. We need to look at it that actually when we just started taking certain class, when we had started talking about certain things, then कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं knowingly or unknowingly मैं कुछ ऐसे perceptions और attitudes को class में अपने students को दे रही हूँ जो खुद जिनसे मैं वाकिफ होती हूँ या फिर ताल्लुक रखती हूँ, तो इस चीज का मुझे शायद वहाँ पर ध्यान रखने की जरूरत है. I need to look at it like, you know, my teaching pedagogy, it should be very much relevant to the student, relevant in the sense relevant to my each and every student, not single student should be left behind. Be someone who deeply cares about your students. We need to be someone who actually cares about your students, who actually, you know, take care of our students in a way like you know, in terms of the individuality of the child, rather in terms of the genesis of the child as well. Speaking of student-centered teachers, which means taking an interest in your student community and making positive contact with the parents, be willing to learn about cultures other than your own. Sometimes, and most of the times, we spend our time on just, you know, preaching and teaching and telling the people about our own culture because we have a love for our culture. But if we really want to create a very good environment, and if we just really want to talk about the culturally relevant teaching in that way, we need to be willing, we need to be initiator to learn about cultures other than your own, to learn about other cultures in place of your own culture, right? So what are some of the cultures and languages represented in your school and classroom? And what someone of the culture and language your student will encounter in their educational setting? We all must be aware of all these things. So when we talk about the culturally responsive school environment and building a culturally responsive environments, right? So we just look at it like culturally responsive school environment to make it, then we need to encourage and we need to use the culture and experiences of the different students, majority as well as minority. We need to use the instructions that involve matching the knowledge of a particular group with the learning environment. Like whatever the knowledge one individual is having, if we would be able to match that knowledge in our learning environment, in our particular group, we need to use those instructions as well. Embrace a strength-based perspective. That perspective should be strength-based, right? And knows the failure of any child is not an option. It's not that I know that I know the failure of any of my child, but it's not the option. We need to take the strength, take the positive, take the whatever my child is having as a tool to make a child successful, to make a child, not to fail, to ensure the child should not fail. Creates an environment that reflects culture and the cultural and the linguistic diversity. We need to create an environment where there is a reflection of the culturally and the linguistic diversity. Enacts instructions through different learning style. We need to frame those instructions through the different learning style so that the different learning style should be get taken care, and the student can use all different kind of learning styles as well. So we need to build a culturally responsive environment. When you talk about it, then it requires a dialogue. There is a need of a dialogue on the race, ethnicity, and culture. There is a need of care. There is a need of a professionally development in the learning style. There is a need for the kind of creating a kind of a professional development learning style where we need to be more professional rather than an individual, because when the moment I talk about school, then school is not a kind of an entity where your individuality should be there. We need to be professional. We need to respect each and every student's individuality as well. We need to inculcate and we need to consider the aspects of our individual students' personality as a strength. We need to merge all those things and we need to cull out something the best out of best out of among our children, and we need to make it as a part of our pedagogy to make our classroom very effective and to make actually the real sense to value the culturally responsive teaching, and that too for the minority. Then now another aspect is that why is a culturally responsive environment as important in our educational setting? No doubt it is very important because schooling is a kind of a process which operates on culturally nuances, right? And culture of others has historically not been acknowledged in the school process and resulted in the differential outcome. The moment we talk about that there is a difference in the outcome among the children, that it means we are not considering the culture of other student, because every student have something to share. Every student have their own rich life experiences, and every student have their own way of looking at the things. And if our student are not able to perform, if our student are not able to do something very effectively, then it means that historically that we are not able to consider, we are not able to acknowledge that we are not able to acknowledge their ways. We are not able to consider it in our outcome. That's why there is a variation. And if we are able to inculcate their strength, their identity, their individuality, their experiences as a part of my pedagogy, then definitely the results would have been different. And that's what it is. That's how we can actually then really make a culturally responsive teaching. So it is a kind of a place to begin, get to know the research, and be the honest to our school and organization. If we were able to do it, then definitely there is a change. There is a huge change. So at the end, like before finishing it, I want to say that the increasing diversity in our school, the ongoing demographic changes across the nation, and the movement towards globalization dictate that we develop a more in-depth understanding of culture. If we want to bring about the true understanding about diverse population. There is an increase in diversity. There is an increase in diversity in our schools, definitely, because we are talking about the context of India. And when we talk about the context of India, there is an increasing diversity and the ongoing demographic changes, because there is a change in the demography across the nation. Right, and there is a movement towards globalization, of course, because nowadays what is happening that there are a lot of people, those who are migrated, there are a lot of people, those who are coming here in search of employment. Sometimes a lot of people, those who are, who are coming not only in search of employment, rather in search of in search of a change in habitation and so on. The people are moving from one nation, and there's a movement towards globalization, which dictate that we develop a more in-depth understanding, which makes us enable to develop a more in-depth understanding of culture if we want to bring about true understanding about diverse population. Right, it gives us a more in-depth understanding of culture. I mean, so that we got to know about somebody's culture, and if you want to bring about the true understanding about among the diverse population, then it is very much important to make their culture as a tool of our teaching. And if you are able to do it, then definitely we will be able to do some kind of a miraculous change. So I want to finish it here. I want to take a kind of a quick revision, I would say. And which kind of a quick revision, what we have discussed today while talking about the value of the culturally relevant teaching in terms of minority. Firstly, we discussed about what we understand by the culture. Secondly, we talk about the pedagogy, like which kind of pedagogy we are talking about, how do we understand the pedagogy, and then we talk about the culturally relevant teaching. And while talking about the culturally relevant teaching, there are again two kind of subheads. First thing, why it is necessary, why it is a need of our to talk about the culturally relevant teaching. And in the second section, we talk about that how the teacher can create an environment, how we can actually visualize the success of the culturally relevant teaching in our contemporary society, in our thus diverse country like India. And there are that we just also talked about that how the school can come up within a kind of an entity where these all things can be get practiced very effectively, where actually we can see the happenings and see the real implications of this culturally relevant teaching, that too with the same tool, that is the teacher. Right, because as we know, because that they are the teachers who are dealing the students, there are the teachers who are in the very much close interaction with the students. So in that way, the role of teacher became very important. And the next we just talked about that why the school should cater all those things and how we can, make this as a very rich environment. And it's not. We also talked about that it's not needed because we want to do it to inculcate the experiences of all the students across of their region, religion, and everything. No, actually, if there is no diversity in the classroom, then of course the experiences also get limited. The moment the experience become limited, the learning become limited. So in that way, we touched upon, I mean, these are all major areas in our today's discussion. So let's take some kind of questions if you have any questions. Yes, it's our last topic of discussion. There are no books available. आपको recorded lecture you will be getting, I guess. They might be doing it. They might be providing you. You will be able to get all the recorded lectures as well. Slideshow नहीं हो रही है. Okay. Okay, for today, thank you so much. And today, as we know, today is our last discussion. I want to take some of the points, whatever we have discussed today. I mean, make a brief notes, right, with the help of the recorded lectures. Secondly, the paper format, I guess it would be the same as it was there in the first semester, because you all through have done a first semester. What you need to do, you need to go through your every unit. You need to go through the sub-content of those units. And while going through your sub-contents and while going through your units, you need to make a kind of a brief chart, infographics, charts kind of as a kuch frame kar lo, so that the things become very easy for you also to learn and to understand. And this paper, if I just talked about particularly about this paper, it's totally understanding based paper. But the important thing is for you is to understand the basic and the broader concepts. Okay, and all the best.